Last time? I'm gonna fucking stab her if you come close.
Friends and Meisters, welcome back to more
999.
Last time, Birdie here was doing something. His hand came out with a knife. A pocket knife, in fact. He held it to Clover's pale, quivering neck.
If you get any closer, I'll cut her open.
Santa skidded to a halt. He snarled at the scrawny man with the knife and gritted his teeth.
Yes, that's right.
The man's smile was neither friendly nor reassuring. Sweat poured down his neck, soaking the collar of his shirt. Clover, are you all right? The prince, Snake's voice sounded oddly concerned. Isn't he blind? Yeah, I'm fine. Her voice shook, making her words even less convincing. What the hell are you trying to do?
I told you. This is my plan.
What are you gonna do to her, you sick son of a bitch? I personally think this isn't a very good plan or idea. We should be working together here.
Don't worry. I'm not going to do anything to her. If she just does what I tell her to, I'll let her go.
He started to move backwards, slowly, keeping his grip on Clover. Keeping their distance, Junpei and the others followed. Eventually, the man reached the wall. He gave a start as his back touched it, and glanced around it quickly and spoke.
Verify.
Huh?
The left. Look on your left. Do you see a device on the wall? Place your hand on the scanner panel, the round part.
What if I don't? Oh, please don't be smart. The man's nostrils flared and he looked like he was about to choke.
Are you an idiot? What do you think? I could slit your throat right now. I'll kill you if I have to. All I need is your bracelet. Just do it. Do it now.
He pressed the knife against Clover's neck hard. Slowly, she stretched her left hand out towards the device. Her back was to it, so she had to feel around for a moment before she found the circular panel. It made a cold electronic noise, and on a display above her hand, an asterisk appeared. So that's how it works, Junpei thought to himself. By placing one's palm on what the ninth man had called the scanner panel, the user's bracelet number would be entered into the device. Should you total the numbers on your numbered bracelets and find that the digital root of that number is equal to the number of that door, the door will open. Right. Junpei shifted his eyes to the door itself, now realizing what the man's plan was. The number on it was 5. At least I realize now. The ninth man seemed to know a little more about the device's operation than he should. How had he known to do, or exactly what to do?
Good, you're done. Next.
His bloodshot eyes crept from person to person until finally they stopped on the lion, Ace.
You right? You're the one with the number 1 bracelet, right?
I see exactly what he's doing now. Yes, I am so.
Then you're next. Just verify your number like this little brat did. What are you doing? Do it! Don't you care what happens to her?
Okay, just calm down. Ace held up his hands, palms out. The ninth man jerked his chin towards the device. Slowly, cautiously, Ace moved towards the device. After what seemed like an agonizing eternity, he reached it.
Now verify.
Ace nodded and placed his hand on the scanner panel. The device beeped again and a second asterisk appeared. And the device had Clover and Ace's numbers, 4 and 1. 4 plus 1 equals 5. But the same number was written on the door. But it wouldn't open just yet. Only 3 to 5 people can pass through one numbered door. The door needed at least one more person. But who would that be?
Get back.
His voice shook, but the knife he had held to Clover's throat made his words a command. Ace took 2, then 3 steps back.
No farther! More than that? Go all the way back.
Slowly, Ace did what he was told. The ninth man's lips curled into a cruel, twisted smile. That was when Junpei understood his plan. 4 plus 9 gets you the digital root of 5, so that was his plan. Clover's 4 and Ace's 1 added to the ninth man's 9. 4 plus 1 plus 9 equals 14. 1 plus 4 equals 5. I was right. In other words...
Oh, thank God you were all so cooperative. Now I can get out of this in a nightmare.
He pressed his own hand against the scanner panel. A third asterisk appeared on the screen. He dropped his hand to the lever on the side of the device and pulled. The door opened with a heavy metallic groan. He let go of Clover. Wait! Junpei leapt towards the ninth man, but he wasn't fast enough. The man shoved Clover. Ah! And hopped through the door.
Okay, have a good one, guys. I'm going off ahead now. Well then, goodbye.
He raised his hand and waved, a twisted smirk on his face. Then he was gone. The door ground shut with a dull clang of metal on metal. Clover, are you all right? Snake ran to Clover's side as she lay on the floor. Yeah, I'm fine. She climbed unsteadily to her feet and once there leaned heavily on Snake's shoulder for support. Junpei ran to the door. The others followed him. Several pairs of hands grabbed hold of the handles and pulled. They grunted and strained, but... it appeared it's locked again. Shit! It won't budge! That was when Lotus, the dancer, spoke. Her voice was quiet. Do you hear something? Like what? Like some sort of beeping. Beeping? Junpei pressed his ear against the cold metal of the door. The others did the same. Oh no, we know that beeping. You're right, I can hear it too. What is it? Then they heard something else. It was the ninth man.
Shit! Why isn't it stopping? God damn it! You lied!
Lied? Who lied?
This wasn't supposed to happen. This is wrong. This is wrong!
His voice shook with fear. Safe on the outside, they stepped back from the door and looked at one another. What is happening in there?
Open the door, please! I'm begging you. Help me! Please, get me out of here! Get me out of here!
Junpei grabbed hold of the device. He slammed his hand on the scanner panel. Nothing happened. Why didn't it register him? He looked at the display where the asterisk had shown up. It said engaged.
Oh my god, there's no time left! Listen, I was lied to. He lied to me. He put me in here. It was him. He killed me. It was him.
Who?
Ah! Ah!
Oh, dear God. There's probably a smear on the floor now. The explosion rocked the room. Instinctively, they ducked, then stood up slowly when they realized there was no danger. No one spoke. Silence filled the room. In that silence, the electronic tone that echoed across the room sounded as loud as a gunshot. All eyes turned towards it. It had come from the device mounted next to the door. The display on the device changed from engaged to vacant.
Let's see if we can open it.
7, the mountain swallowed hard. Junpei nodded and placed his hand on the scanner panel. A red asterisk appeared on the LCD panel. The device had registered Junpei's bracelet number 5. His was not enough, however. At least 2 more people were needed. Junpei did ask, which pair? We had 1 and 9. Let me think for a second. You know what? Santa and June should work. Santa and, June, you think you could give me a hand here? The pun was a little too on the nose. God damn it. But the mood was still grim. Both Santa and June lifted their left hands silently. He verified, and she followed suit. 5 plus 3 plus 6 equals 14, and then 1 plus 4 equals 5. They fulfilled the conditions. If they were to pull a lever on the side... Are you guys ready? I'm gonna open it. Junpei grabbed the lever and looked back over his shoulder. They stiffened and nodded. Junpei nodded back and set his mouth in a grim line. Then he slowly lowered the lever. Oh, please tell me that was all an act. There was a metallic groan and the door slid open. A breath of air drifted out, carrying the stench that nearly made them gag. Junpei grimaced and put a hand over his mouth. Oh my god! Good god! Lotus and Ace shuddered. Seven grunted. Oh wow, that's pretty bad. Even Santa's voice shook. He blew up! It appeared that Santa was right. The hallway on the other side of the door was splattered with chunks of torn flesh and dark red blood. Ah! The shriek echoed across the room. It had come from June. Then her strength left her and she dropped. As Junpei turned to catch her, the door groaned shut. Good God! She crumpled to the floor. June, you okay? Junpei dropped to his knees and put his arms around her shoulders. That was when he noticed. Her whole body was feverish. She was radiating intense heat. What the hell? Where did this fever come from? June didn't answer. Her face looked like wax and her whole body began to shake. Alright, let's just rest for a minute, okay? You think you can walk? She nodded weakly. Junpei lifted June to her feet and guided her to a nearby chair. Here we go. As gently as he could, he set her down into it. How are you feeling? Are you alright? She nodded, and as she did, a single huge tear rolled down the side of her face. Why? Why did this happen? Her voice cracked, broken by misery and grief and choked by sobs. Why did this happen? Junpei spun around. Do any of you know what the fuck is going on here? Who's Zero? What's this nonary game? Come on, anybody. Anything. What the hell is going on? What are we doing here? No one spoke. Ace, Snake, Santa, Clover, Seven, and Lotus. They simply stood there, 7 pairs of downcast eyes and 7 grim lines for mouths. Jun's body shook with silent slobs. They slowed as the minutes ticked by, and eventually they stopped. Then suddenly, in cold, heavy silence that enveloped them like a thick fog, a bell began to ring. The clock in the central hall, 7, 8, 9, 10 times. And then, on the 10th ring, it stopped. The sound of the bell faded away into silence. It's 10 o'clock then. Ace said what each of them had been thinking. That means it's been an hour since Zero's little announcement. Seven's deep voice echoed across the room. Fuck! I've had enough of this crap! Santa leapt to his feet, his fists clenched. How long are we gonna pussyfoot around like this? We've only got 8 hours until this time limit Zero was going on about is up. Let's get going already. Go! Go! Santa's outburst fell on deaf ears. No one seemed to agree with him. They stared back at him, their eyes blank and their faces tired. Finally, Lotus spoke. No, I refuse. God, good God. This guy isn't wrong. We have to do something. I'm not going to end up like him. We can end up dead regardless in 8 hours if we don't do anything. Him? You mean the ninth man? Of course. Who else? In his mind's eye, Junpei saw the corpse again. The dark, reddish-black pool of blood. The scattered pieces of flesh. Organs strewn across the floor like the blossoming of a grotesque flower. The explosion that had torn through his body had been powerful. The ninth man's neck had been twisted at an odd angle. Junpei suspected the detonation had thrown him against the wall. Half of his face was crushed, the other half was covered in blood. Most of his abdomen had been emptied, either by the explosion or by gravity. He had landed on his back, and stark white ribs jutted out of his chest like the legs of some sort of crab. Junpei felt something flip in his stomach. Oh, that was a gruesome explanation. I think he just screwed up. Eyebrows went up, and Santa continued. He probably set off some sort of trap, and then that killed him. I'm not gonna screw up like that. I'm getting out of here alive. Whatever Snake was laughing at, Santa did not find it particularly humorous. What's so goddamn funny? Oh, my apologies. You were just so very confident. I couldn't help myself. What the fuck? I think you've mistaken the situation. Huh? The ninth man's death. It had nothing to do with a trap. Or at least not the sort of trap you imagine it did. Then, he broke one of Zero's rules. That was why he died. Quite simple if you think about it. You still don't. All right. How about you take a moment and think back to what Zero said? It has to be a minimum of 3 people. I think that's what he means. Specifically, what did he say about the number of people? He said only 3 to 5 people can pass through one numbered door. Right? And after that, you've forgotten the relevant part. What did Zero say? Santa furrowed his brow in thought. Junpei thought back. Zero said, I'm pretty sure it's the middle one, that everyone who verified had to go. All those who enter must leave, and all who enter must contribute. Right? I think it was something like that. Whatever it was, it means the groups of less than 3 or more than 5 can't go through. That is correct. A gold star for you, Junpei. Snake inclined his head towards Junpei. The ninth man, however, broke that rule. He tried to pass through a numbered door by himself. That was why he was executed. Man, Zero's watching us from somewhere, making sure we don't break any rules. Oh, I'm not so sure of that. Why not? Because this execution system is entirely automatic. You didn't notice. There's no need for him to monitor us. What do you mean? Snake looked at Seven with what could only be described as pity and sighed. Very well. I see it must be me who tells you. I've waited long enough, I suppose. I had hoped Zero might spare me the trouble, but that seems increasingly unlikely. He couldn't see them, of course, but perhaps Snake sensed the confused eyes upon him. When Ace spoke, it gave words to everyone else's thoughts. Do you know something? Well, I know a great many things, but yes. What is it you know? Here. Snake removed a card from the pocket of his jacket. With a flourish, he presented it to Ace, who took a close look at it and spoke. Come on now, what's the point of giving me this? Give me that. Santa snatched the card from Ace, but his expression of disgust quickly turned to one of confusion. Huh? The hell is this? Seven tugged it out of Snake's hands. Hey, I see. The card went from Seven to Lotus, from Lotus to Jun, and finally to Junpei. And it's June. Why am I saying Jun? He looked at it and understood. This is Braille. Braille, the written language of the blind. The card was covered with small, embossed bumps. Junpei could recognize it, but he certainly couldn't read it. Sorry guys, I can't read this. Junpei handed the card back to Snake, who nodded at him with a small smirk. Okay, that was fun. What's so important about that card? I found it in my pocket. I can only assume it was a message from Zero. From Zero? A message? What does it say? Suddenly, everyone was crowding around Snake, desperate to hear what the message said. Santa especially looked as if he were about to grab hold of Snake and shake the answer from him.
Well, we can trust them, but it is important to know.
Snake raised his hand. Calm down now. No need to panic. You don't have to force me. I'll read it. Junpei swallowed hard and waited for him to start. It was not the only one. Presently, Snake began to read, his voice calm. His fingers glided over the tiny bumps as he spoke. Bracelet number 2. Since you are not blessed with sight, I shall bless you, and only you, with information. I should tell you of the function of the red, of the dead, and of the bracelet. The red is the recognition device. It will verify your number. Besides every numbered door, you will find a red. The dead is the activation device. It does exactly what it says. Once you pass through the numbered door, you will use the dead to stop the detonator in your bracelet. But perhaps you are wondering, what does this detonator detonate? I am afraid this may be something of a surprise. I placed a small bomb inside of you, and the people whom you are about to meet. You will swallow it while you are unconscious. I have no doubt that by the time you read this note, the bomb will have passed your stomach and found its way to your small intestine. In other words, you will be unable to regurgitate it. I suggest you do not try. As I mentioned before, the bracelet on your left hand contains a detonator. Think of it as a remote fuse or timer for the bomb in your body. There's only one condition which will cause it to detonate. That condition is that you enter a numbered door. Once you have done so, the timer will activate no matter who you may be. Oh god, so he exploded because of this. You will have 81 seconds. If after that time the detonator has not been deactivated, it will send a signal to the bomb in your body, instructing it to explode. In order to deactivate the detonator, every person who verified their number at the red must also verify their numbers at the dead. Once all numbers have been verified by the dead, you need only pull the lever at its side and the countdown will cease. Anyone who does not verify their number at the red will find themselves unable to verify their number at the dead. That is to say, if you should pass through a numbered door without first verifying your number at the red, in 81 seconds you will be dead. I love the way they worded that. Red, and in 81 seconds you will be dead. You must also keep in mind that the numbered doors will close automatically after 9 seconds have passed. As long as the door is open, the dead will not function. You would do well to remember this. Lastly, let us discuss how to remove the bracelets. There are only 2 ways to do so. 1. You escape from this ship. 2. Your heart rate reaches 0. In other words, once the bracelet is taken outside the confines of the ship or detects that its wearer's heartbeat has fallen to 0, it will shut down automatically. There is no other way to remove your bracelet. If you attempt to force it off or disable the detonator, the bomb within you will immediately explode. This is all the information which I can impart to you. How you choose to use it is for you to decide. If used wisely, you can eliminate those who might be a danger to you for a time. You would be able to control your fate. I wish you the best of luck. That makes me think. Snake finished reading and carefully returned the card to his pocket. The message had been lengthy, but its meaning was clear. Only those who verified their numbers at the red could pass through the numbered doors. Teams could not increase or decrease their numbers. The reds, deads, and bracelets enforced the rules. They were judge, jury, and executioner. In defiance of Hero's suggestions, both Santa and Seven put fingers down their throats and began to gag. The rest stiffened, some touched their stomachs, some simply stared at their bracelets. Junpei gingerly touched his stomach. There was a bomb inside his body. The thought of it made him queasy. His stomach felt oddly hollow, and his legs were weak. Why had Zero designed such a ludicrous game? Junpei looked over at the others. Alright, I'm gonna ask one more time. Do any of you know anything about Zero? They were all silent, each person waiting to hear what the others would say. Finally, Santa spoke. Actually, I saw him. I saw Zero when I got grabbed. I didn't see his face, though. Son of a bitch was wearing some kind of gas mask. Huh. What the hell? Come on, guys, give me something. You know, like a surprise or something. Instead, it was Santa who looked surprised. There was a moment of silence, and then everyone spoke at once. Yeah, I saw him too. Me too. Was wearing a gas mask. As stories were sorted out, the truth became clear. All of their stories were the same. They had been abducted at home at midnight. The person claiming to be Zero had worn a mask. There had been white smoke, and each person had passed out. When they awoke, they had found themselves on D-deck in a room with a 3-level bunk bed. Only 7 stories seemed to lack the details of the others. Oh, me? Yeah, well, mine was just like the rest of y'all's. That was all he said. It had occurred to Junpei at the same time, or at the time that it sounded somewhat strange, but he didn't press the issue. He hadn't done so, because there was something that struck him as even stranger. There was that mystery of the relationship between Snake and Clover.
For some reason, they had been abducted from the same room and woken up in the same room. It is a good question as to why.
Junpei looked at him thoughtfully. So, what's the deal with the two of you, anyway? It was Clover that answered. Clearly, she felt she had nothing to hide.
We're siblings. Siblings? Yes? Snake is my older brother. Obviously, that means I'm his little sister. That really so hard to understand?
Junpei was taken aback. The others seemed just as surprised. She is correct, of course. He laid his hand on Clover's shoulder. Are you surprised? Oh, yeah, but... Why? There are other people here with connections to one another. Those two, for instance. Snake pointed at Junpei and June. Oh, you mean between Jumpy and me? Yes. You did say you were childhood friends, didn't you? You went to school together. Yeah? June glanced at Junpei, uncomfortable with the sudden attention. Junpei felt somewhat nervous as well and tried to scratch his head as casually as possible. Hey, you think maybe you could figure out who Zero is this way? Yeah, you're right. You connect the dots between the victims and that leads you to the burp. Textbook stuff, actually. Junpei? June, does any of this ring a bell? Ring a bell? Ring a bell? They looked at one another, and like it was staged, they both tilt their neck at the same time. Well, perhaps you went to school with the son of a multi-millionaire. A multi-millionaire? Son? Well, someone bought this boat and set up all of this. Whoever Zero is, they must be incredibly rich. Well, we can't be sure of that. To me, this seems as though it's the work of an organization, not an individual. Zero is most likely simply the representative of a larger group. What sort of organization? It could be a number of things. An army, perhaps, or a research group. Perhaps it's all some sort of psychological experiment. If it is, then it's a pretty fucked up experiment. I mean, come on, a guy's dead. The word dead hung in the air, heavy and ominous. The room went quiet again. I don't know who the hell this Zero asshole is, but I don't know for sure. He's got to be pretty fucked up in the head to do all this. If this was all one guy, then he's got some serious issues. Even with this specter of death hanging over them, their discussions continued for some time. In the end, however, they learned nothing. By the time they finished, 1.5 of their 9 hours were gone. All they had to show for it was impatience. Man, look, we only got 7.5 hours left, okay? You really sure you want to just sit around? No one was willing to argue this time. Very well then. There's only one way for us to proceed. Sure not gonna be fun running around knowing we gotta jump when zero sees. Jump.
Well, it's stupid just to sit around here and do nothing.
Thanks to Snake's card, at least we have some idea of how this all works. Correct. As long as we follow the rules, we should, well, we'll most likely be alright. But what? Who's going which door? June looked towards the numbered doors. Oh yeah, that's right. We can't have any more than 5 people in one door. All 8 of us can't go in the same door. Then it would seem we will have to split up. Wait. Lotus looked terrified. I'm telling you now, there is no way in hell that I'm going into door 5. Come now, don't be selfish. Call me whatever the hell you want, I'm not going in there. If I'm going to have to walk through all of that blood, then I'd rather stay here. And we're doing so well. Or we were, at least. He shook his head sadly. Sorry, but I ain't going in there either. Someone else can go in door 5. Oh, Santa, not you too. Hey man, I just bought these shoes. If you think I'm getting some creepy dude's blood all over them, you got another thing. Think? I think you mean another thing coming. That was the last straw. What the hell, man? Weren't you the one who kept saying we should get going? Yeah? So? Doesn't mean I wanted to go into door 5. Oh, God. There was an awkward silence. Finally, Seven spoke. Fine. I'll go into door 5, you wussy. I can't go in there alone, though. Anyone else willing to come with me? There was another long silence. This time, Snake was the one to break it. I'll go. What? Don't worry, it'll be fine. We may part now, but I'm certain we'll meet again later. How do you know that? Because I do. That's not an answer. If you're going, I'm going too. I'm going to door 5. What am I going to do with you? There's nothing you have to do. Ace stepped forward. If I join you, the problem is solved, correct? 7 is 7, and Snake is 2. If you add Clover's 4 and my 1, the digital root will be 5. Problem solved. 7 plus 2 plus 4 plus 1 equals 14. 1 plus 4 equals 5. He's right. Oh, it works perfectly! The 4 of us can go to door 5. Oh, wait. What about the other 4? What's their digital root going to be? Junpei did a quick mental calculation. Lotus, Santa, June, and Junpei remained. Their bracelet numbers were 8, 3, 6, and 5. 8, 3, 6, and 5. What would their digital root be? Well, adding together 8 plus 3 plus 6 plus 5 brings us to 22, I believe. Then if you take that and you add 2 and 2, you get the 4, which would be our digital root in this case. So let's go 4, and that is my final answer game. Okay, are we right? We are. He repeated what he determined. It's 4. I have 4 bracelet numbers and the digital root is 4. Then we can go into door 4? Yeah, that worked out well. Junpei ran over the team assignments in his head one more time. 4 people would go into door 5. 7, Snake, Clover, and Ace. 4 people would go into door 4. Lotus Snake, Jun, and Junpei. Junpei had to ask himself if the teams were what he really wanted. Beyond door 5 was what remained of the 9th man. He never wanted to see that thing again, but something in him said it would be unwise not to examine the corpse a little closer. Of course, if he went through door 5, he wouldn't be going with Lotus and Snake. True, it would be possible for him to bring Jun with him through door 5, but that would mean she would have to see the horrific carnage that waited there. And Junpei didn't want that. Junpei was torn. Should he stay silent and go through door 4? Or should he stop them all and insist on door 5? As he turned his options over and over in his mind, Ace spoke up. "Alright then, it seems we've reached a conclusion. Shall we go?" He began to walk towards door 5. Clover and Snake followed, with 7 a short distance behind. Junpei, which door do you want to go through? You know what? We should just go to door 4 for now. And I hope that isn't a bad decision. Decided that door 4 would be fine. He would go through door 4 with Lotus, Santa, and Jun. Why had Junpei even considered doing otherwise? He would be there for Jun, for Akane, Kurashiki. That seemed good. He felt it was the right choice to make. Also, it'll create less friction. He made no shows of affection, but Junpei saw her as something more than just a friend from his childhood. He watched the other 4 walk towards their door. Ace, Snake, Clover, and 7. Junpei said nothing as they left. Before long, they had reached door 5. They talked to one another for a few seconds, saying things Junpei couldn't hear, and then laid their hands one by one on the scanner panel of the red. Ace grabbed the lever. His face tight with determination, he turned over his shoulder to look at Junpei and his companions. "Goodbye. Be careful." As Ace pulled the lever, the door swung open, the mouth of a great hungry beast. Beyond the door, Junpei knew, lay the sad remains of the 9th man. It did not surprise him that Ace, Clover, and 7 hesitated. The body was not a pleasant thing. Snake had no such problems, as his blindness made him immune to horror. He stepped through the door, his feet making a wet splack in this pool of blood. "Do you intend to kill me? I assume you haven't forgotten the door only remains open for 9 seconds, have you?" Snake had not even bothered to turn around, but the other 3 steeled themselves and stepped through the door. Oh my god! A horrible sight. Door 5 swung shut, closing with the heavy finality of metal upon metal. Junpei and his companions scrambled to their door. They pressed their ears to it in an attempt to hear what might be taking place on the other side. It's beeping! It's just like before. Probably the sound of the detonator on the bracelet. Do you think they're okay? Jun's face showed her concern more plainly than her words ever could. Almost as though in response to her question, a voice rang out from the other side of the door. It was 7. "Hey, there it is! There's gotta be the dead thing! Come on, get over here, we gotta authenticate!" The beeping stopped. Thank God! The sighs of relief were audible even through the heavy door. "Huh, looks like it stopped." Junpei and his companions leaned away from the door and breathed a collective sigh of relief of their own. "Hey guys, are you doing alright over there?" They'd heard 7's voice, but it wouldn't hurt to be sure. "Yep, we're fine!" Despite the recent danger, Clover's voice was as bubbly as ever. "Oh hey, I'm gonna tell you about this whole dead thing, okay? The dead is just like the red, but the color's different. You know how the red was red? Well, the dead is blue. Other than that, it's just like the red. Authenticating is the same too. Awesome, thanks, that helps a lot. Well, we should probably be moving on now. You be careful out there. Roger that. Don't want to end up dead like the name suggests. Junpei and the others left door 5 and headed towards their door 4. They stopped in front of the red and placed each of their hands upon it, one after another. 4 asterisks appeared on the screen. Junpei grabbed the lever and turned around. You guys ready?
No, we're not ready. Anyhow, Meisters, I feel that's a good place to leave it for today. We'll see you next time on Let's Play 999. 9 hours, 9 persons, 9 doors. And since the game loves 9s, hopefully it's not 9 dead peoples next time. Anyhow, Meisters, as always, if you did enjoy the video, please do leave a like to show your support. If you'd like more Shinigami shenanigans just like today's, ensure to subscribe to the channel and join the Academy for more videos just like this one. And I'm active on social media. Follow me on there if you so feel inclined. We'll see you next time, Meisters.
Peace out.